All right, my friends, I'm all decked out in my Boston gear. Got my Bruins beanie hat, my Boston College sweatshirt. Taking old Pablo for a walk here, and I want to talk about retirement fear-mongers. I want to talk about. I came across this book by a guy named Charles Ellis. He had co-written it with Alicia Munell from Boston College, ironically enough, the Center for Retirement Research, 2014, I think. And I can't remember what it's called, but it was like but the whole premise was retirement, the retirement crisis. I forgot the name of the book. It was only like 128 pages. Anyway, the point was, in the intro, and I haven't bought it, I will, because I'm going to tear it up. Can't wait. But in the introduction, or at least the Amazon introduction thing, it says, people need to work longer and save more. And that was the gist of their argument. And I'm sitting there thinking, anyway, I haven't read the book yet, but that seems so trite. We have a retirement crisis. The solution is to work longer and save more. All right. So then I got to reading a Scott Burns article. Now, Scott Burns had co-written the book Spend Till the End with my man Larry Kolikoff. And that was a life changer for me. And Scott, I'm sure, I don't know, I probably don't agree with him politically, I imagine, but he writes, I like his writing to the most part. And I'm going to read that article later on today about how the retirement smile is real. Now, my take on the retirement smile is the assumption that the curve graphs upward as you age. So basically what happens is you start, and I'm just gonna be hard with Pablo, you start here and you go down and you come back up as healthcare costs kick in. I don't believe that. I think there are some people that happens to. It's 22 degrees here, by the way. But it's actually, if the wind's not out, it's not bad. It's the wind that gets you. Looks like I cut myself shaving. Oh boy, like I was 18 years old. It's funny, when I used to shave in the basic training, I had a guy, I didn't know how to, my dad never taught me any of this crap. I didn't know how to tie a tie. My little brother showed me how to tie a tie. And it was in basic training, probably our first week there, and some guy named Rush from Beckley, West Virginia. He saw me shaving. He goes, dude, what are you doing? He goes, you're going to get in trouble if you go out like that. So what are you talking about? I just cut my face all up, and I was doing it wrong. He goes, you still got, you can still see parts of your, well, not even a beard, but you can still see parts of your facial hair. I was like, well, I just did it. He goes, no. He goes, let me see what you're doing. So I showed him how I shaved. He goes, whoever taught you shave? I said, nobody. It's literally the first time I ever done it. And he goes, oh man, you got to do it like this. He showed me how to shave. Just kind of funny how the stuff a boy doesn't learn if his dad isn't around, and the stuff he needs to learn as he gets older, tie, shave. Another reason you need to be there for your boys, my friends who are dads, because they're gonna learn stuff one way or the other. And if they don't learn it from you, then the question is, who are they gonna learn it from? And I have a sneaky suspicion many aren't gonna get a good guy like Rush in basic training from Beckley, West Virginia to show him how to shave, or a little brother like my brother to show me how to tie a tie. I still don't know how to tie a bow tie to this day. We bought one. My wife and I went to some, I think it was a fundraiser for veterans here in Atlanta. It was, and actually that General Kelly, his wife was there, and it's funny, well, not funny, but sad, because they're from the area where my wife is from, and her son is KIA, I think in Afghanistan, and I think he was 2 years ahead of my wife in high school. Anyway, so we had a chance to go talk to Miss Kelly, whatever, and just give her our condolences and whatnot. And a very gracious lady. And I was always a fan of General Kelly. I think at the end of the day, there was a falling out between him and the Trumpster. Seems like there always is with a Trumpster. But that's grown people. They can learn to move on, that's for sure. Don't know the specifics, don't really care to know. I just know General Kelly's a patriot, as is, come on buddy, as is Donald Trump, and I'm okay with that. Everyone has a patriotic view in their own way, and as am I. I'm a patriot, and I think people say, oh, you're not a patriot if you don't do this. I'm like, nah, patriotism is individually unique. All right. So back to the retirement smile and what Scott Burns was saying. He didn't actually talk about the latter part of that equation, the retirement smile. He just said, that he talks about his retirement spending has gone down since he retired. And he talks about the reasons why. And I thought, man, that's freaking awesome, man. Hold on a sec. We pooping here? Looks like we're getting ready to poop. All right, let me pick it up. So that's fantastic. Just like we've said. And he refers back to the initial Journal for Financial Planning article from 1999 from a couple of professors. I can't remember where they're from. And then he talks about the one I talk about all the time, which is Ty Bernicki. Hold on a second. I got to pick this poop up. Oh, boy. Hold on a second. Oh, hold on. Yes, that's fantastic there, buddy. Old Pop was a big sleeper last night, though. All right, there we go. Got it. And you talk about Ty Bernicki, who I told you about, who had an article in the Journal for Financial Planning in 2005, which I had never read the article in 1999 from the JFP. That was before my time. So it was interesting to see Scott Burns, who's been around for a while, citing that article, citing Bernicki, citing David Blanchett. I freaking love it, dude. And he says, so that's the evidence, but it's also empirical in his own observations. He's observed himself spending less with he and his wife, and yet they're still traveling, still going to France, still doing this, that, and the other. And I thought that's absolutely fantastic. Sorry about the noise there. Come on, Pops. Well, hold on just a second. I got a guy delivering something here, a refrigerator, an LG fridge, probably a 800 watter, I imagine, 800 watts running, probably 1300 when the compressor kicks on, so you can run that literally off the battery of your car, as long as you have gasoline. Of course, if you have electric, and the good Governor Newsom says we're shutting down electricity, well, you're in a world of hurt, because your solar isn't going to charge your car and the rest of your house. Let's just put it that way. Unless you have some serious panels. And I don't mean panels I mean efficient panels. Unless you have some serious battery backups too. Solar's not gonna cut it, man. All there is to it. Looks like they're moving 2 fridges out. All right, cool. It's a tough job there, man. In fact, it's funny. I don't know if you can see those gents. So who is moving those refrigerators? You know how they talk about equality. We got to have diversity and inclusion. Well, we need diversity and inclusion for refrigerator movers because they're all men. I'm sure there's probably a few women out there who do that job. I guarantee ain't more than 5% of the population, my friends. And because of that, but the women will be HR reps for sure at various big companies. They'll be teachers for sure, but they're not doing the hard labor jobs. And I wouldn't expect that to happen. I can't imagine my beautiful other half doing that work, being in the infantry. Are there some women who will? Yeah, the vast majority won't. So how do you get paid? You get paid for more risky jobs that require more effort, more risk. And when I say effort, I mean physical effort and risk to your well-being. They're going to pay you for your risk, for sure. So I don't know if the guy who's moving those fridges is making more than the lady who's taking the order on the phone. I would hope so, frankly, because the guy moving the fridges is doing something that can't be shipped out to India. But anyway, that's where you get your pay differential. There's a wage gap, yeah, because men do all the grunt work and all the dangerous work, and women don't. And I wouldn't expect it any other way. In fact, if you ask me, it shouldn't be any other way, because that's how a just society is. Oh, but it's discriminatory. No, it's not. Do whatever you want. If you're a woman and you want to do that grunt work, more power to you. I got no problem with that. As long as you keep up. But we're not going to make rules so you can accommodate being a fireman. We're not going to make rules so you can accommodate carrying 150 pounds of weight on your back while you're humping a freaking M60 with a spare barrel and tripod. We're not going to accommodate that. We're going to accommodate you if you can do it. More power to you, man. I know for a fact there's some hard butt-kicking women out there who can freaking kick my butt. My wife, for instance. But she's not going to get down there in the mud with an M60. She don't want to do that. She said, no, I'm going to take care of my kids. I'll work an office job. Nothing wrong with that. Both are well needed, for sure. All right, so going back to Scott Burns. So he says explicitly about his decline in expenses. And yet we got the Alicia Munnells, Charles Ellis of the world saying the exact opposite. And the issue that friggin' ticks me off, come on, bud, is that if you're an academic, how do you get paid? You get paid from federal funding. How do you create federal funding? You create a crisis. It's no different than climate change. Same thing with retirement. It's the same thing with back in the day with high carbs. The same exact thing. Same thing with vaping. We need research to study why people are dying from vaping. Well, it's all fake. But if we can convince enough people it isn't fake, they'll fund our retirement requests or our funding requests for research. Same thing that comes with these guys in retirement research. It's a crisis. We can't have this crisis. Give us funding so we can investigate and analyze how to deal with a crisis. So you see what happens here? We establish a crisis, and then we say, oh no, the crisis, it gets thrown in because the media is too freaking lazy to do any simple investigation. And so they just you have an academic, and they say, oh, the academic would never lie to us. And then, I'll never forget a guy named Michael Edison, who I like, but he took hook, line, and sinker, the academics of the climate change numbers. And yet, at the same time, in one side of his mouth, he said, yeah, they'd never lie to us. At the same time, he's saying how the investment industry is lying to us with their numbers. I'm sitting there thinking, this is nuts to me. It's, man. It's like the red pill. I'm like, how do you not see this? They're both lying to you, man. Oh, jeez Louise. And anyway, this guy's a mathematician. He's sitting there saying the investment industry is basically a bunch of charlatans trying to get money by convincing people whatever. And I'm like, but I literally don't understand it. And anyway, so you go back, you create a crisis. It gets established in the media because the journalists are too dumb to do the research on their own. And then they start saying, oh, it's a crisis. We got to deal with a crisis. And then they say, we'll pick on Alicia Munnell. Alicia Munnell, you are an academic, so you don't have any skin in this game. You just want to solve the dilemma. You and that Teresa Girardelli or whatever her name is, who's on the New School of Economics. She's like a Bernie Sanders economist, and she's the left's favorite go-to person because she's an academic. And the left has nothing but respect for the academic because they are authority on everything. Just ask them. Anyway, so you are an academic. We have this crisis. And the first thing I say is, well, how do we have a crisis? Well, it's out there in the news. All the academics say it's a crisis. And you're sitting there, okay, so the academics are saying it's a crisis, so we're going to go to said academics to find out how to fix the crisis, which they say exists. It's like saying, we have a crisis in college football, which we certainly do because there's no playoff. Give me research money in which to fix said crisis. Well, there's no crisis in college football. Yes, there is, and there actually is. It's a crisis because I said there is because there's no college football playoff. Well, how do you propose fixing it, Josh? Well, I propose I need federal grants to study the crisis in which we can figure out how to fix it. Same thing going on here. We have a crisis of retirement. Well, how do we know it's a crisis? Well, because all the academics are saying it's a crisis. And who's the one saying it's a crisis that needs to be fixed? All the academics. And who's going to benefit from said crisis, which needs to be fixed? The academics. It's such a freaking scam. And I'm telling you, man, it is. And the whole point, you better work longer and save more. And that's there. And look, that was just the Amazon briefing on the summary. And I read the whole thing. I know it's going to be the same thing. I guarantee in this book, they're going to talk about the need for more strong pension or government of providing options in retirement, more money from the government to guarantee that you don't run out of money in retirement. I guarantee. So back to Scott Burns with the retirement smile. My take on that again is we just assume there's a smile because it's logical, it makes sense. Well, can you see that? Is that icy right there? That's crazy, huh? And this is the South, man, the deep South, North Fulton County, Georgia. It got cold last night. Some people are still watering the grass. That's foolish, man. If your grass is dormant, which it is come October, you don't need to water it. You don't need to water dormant grass. I just don't get people who do that. If your grass is in here brown, or I guess a tan, well, but that means it's dormant. That means you don't need to water it. And watering that grass, in this case, the people across the street from me had icicles on their fence. It's like, because you watered grass that didn't need to be watered, and it froze. So back to retirement smile. It's logical. You spend less as you get older, and then you spend more as you age because of healthcare. Well, let's find the evidence of that, though. That's my thought. All right, so I think we can establish now that you're not going to spend more in retirement. You're not going to spend 80% of your pre-retirement income. You're going to spend less. And as you age, you're going to spend less and less. Hey, not everybody, but I think that should be the default for financial planning from now on. I think that we can establish this. All right, so if we spend less as we age, then we're going to say, well, if we spend less as we age, are we going to spend more later because of retirement, because of healthcare? Well, let's see the studies on that. And the studies that I've seen say no. Yes, some people do, but not all of them. In fact, some people do, but the vast majority do not. Now, I'm open to evidence to show otherwise, for sure. And I absolutely say there's a good chance you're going to spend $10,000 a year if you're married on Medicare, Part B, Part D, Medigap, copays, eye exams, hearing and whatnot. So I factor that into my retirement plans. So I'm not saying you're not going to spend anything. I'm saying you're going to spend a significant amount of money, $10,000 a year for sure. It'll be a big portion of your expenditures. Are you going to spend a whole heck of a lot more than that? Probably not. It's actually pretty funny. My man Anthony sent me an article. It's actually a video. I forgot who, from John Pond, I think. Is that his name? Pond? P-O-N-D is his name. And he's being interviewed by Consuela Mack from the Wealth Track YouTube channel. And he talked about how he's not at all worried about a retirement crisis. And actually he cited he cited an article from T. Rowe Price, a research paper where they interviewed a number of retirees, and they spend about 66 of their pre-retirement income. 66% of their pre-retirement income they spend, and I think it was like 89% of them were satisfied in retirement. And I think what Anthony was saying is like the median net worth was about $500,000. Now, I don't know if that's liquid net worth or total net worth. They just said net worth, and for me that means liquid and real estate, housing and assets, or liquid assets. I don't know. Some people use net worth and all encompassing like I do. Other people use it just for assets, liquid assets, which I think is silly because net worth is absolutely, you should include your home in there. So I haven't read the study yet, but I found that very, very interesting. And I'll certainly look at that. The T. Rowe Price study, just from a couple years ago too. So if you had a median net worth of $500,000, 89% of you were content, satisfied in retirement, and you found you spent about 66% of your pre-retirement income. And I said, man, that falls into it 100% for my thoughts. And when I'm plot my course, I have both. I have Wanda Worker, or no, single Susie, excuse me, and then I have Josh and Charlotte, and I show how we come with that basically 65% of their pre-retirement income. And I chuckled when T. Rowe Price had that, because I said, man, that's about the same thing that I have. In fact, when I'm showing people where they might have a gauge of what their pre-retirement income is going to be, or their post-retirement income based on their pre-retirement income from percentage-wise. That was using 65%. So I had single Susie making $50,000 a year. I have Josh and Charlotte making $40,000 each. So their pre-retirement income is $80,000. Single Susie's pre-retirement income is $50,000. I think I have Josh and Charlotte I need them $50,000 a year for income, if memory serves. And for single Susie, I think I needed $35,000 a year. I think it's what it was. So, yeah, I think that is what it is. And that is throwing in a lot of discretionary. Come on, bud. And that was throwing a lot of discretionary income too. I think I had them for like $10,000 of just for entertainment, for gifting, for whatever. And then I think I had a significant amount of money for entertainment, or for just discretionary. Anyway, so that's it. We'll do this. I'll read the article from Scott Burns again because I like it. It's recent. And then, and I think you'll like that too. So retirement planning, fear mongers, just kick them to the curb, man. Not worth your time. All right, we'll see you.